Hello there and welcome. Today I'll be showing you a game of mine played in the 2022 African Championship, which held in Lagos. I was playing against one of the strongest players in Africa, Prince Daniel Mulenga from Zambia. The Prince is a very jovial and very friendly fellow, and he's always talking up some kind of rivalry between Nigeria and Zambia. So in this game, I was, kind of defending the honor of the homeland. So it was an important game for me and for both of us, I think. Okay, let's dive right in. Okay, so the game begins on E4. All right, this is what I do when I'm trying to, do some violence. So pawn to E4. Okay, the prince goes for something solid. I actually thought he would play the knight of Sicilian, but he decided to play very solid. So e5, knight f3, knight c6. So we have a standard Italian, nothing too crazy. This is all theory. This is all theory. And okay, the reason white plays bishop b3 here is because he doesn't want black to play knight a5 and get that bishop, because that bishop is a very important attacking piece. So that's why we're keeping the bishop quickly. Okay, the bishop goes to a7. All of this is pretty standard for people who play the Italian opening. So basically, the Italian is not really, an attempt to get an opening advantage. It's just, maneuver your pieces, get ready, and hope for the best, basically. Yeah, I don't think it's possible to demonstrate like an opening advantage by force. I don't think it's possible. So basically, black is doing very well. Um, Position is equal at this point. Now, this is the first controversial decision by black when he plays pawn to c5, because it looks as though he's killing his bishop on a7. It turns out that that's not really the case. But during the game, I was concerned for his bishop. I thought that, he was taking some serious positional risk. But it turns out that it was completely fine to play like this. Okay, so I played d5. And you see, I'm trying to play against the bishop. But my opponent, strong player, immediately he understands that he needs to liberate his bishop. And you see what he does now. So I don't mind if you take on c4. I'm going to get that pawn back. All right. So you see, he wants to make sure that he brings that bishop out of prison. This is absolutely good play. All right. Now I play queen c1. I want to sacrifice on h6, or at least I want my opponent to be worried about the possibility that I might sacrifice on h6. Okay. Um. So this is h6 for those in the audience who may not understand what I'm talking about. Okay. So now my opponent was, worried about that sacrifice, so he played king h7. But now I played knight f5. Again, I renewed the threat. I want to play bishop takes h6. So he captures on f5. We capture back. Knight e7. Pawn to b3. So now I'm just being a bit patient. Of course, we have the makings of a violent attack, with the ideas of g4, g5, if nothing else. Uh, but now my opponent plays this move, attacking my rook. And I realized at this point that basically he has solved all his problems, because the bishop is coming to c3, right? And he's going to come and sit on d4. And that bishop that I was thinking was a bad piece is suddenly a monster. So I had to just admit that my ideas had not really worked here, and just say, okay, let's exchange the bishops. But now my opponent basically lost his sense of danger. He assumed, okay, I've solved all my problems. Now, let me get my king out of there and let me start making progress. But here comes the move that shows that yeah, white is definitely uh, playing for the king here. Okay, so of course my opponent assumed that this move was not possible. That's why he played king g8, because he thought that I had a rook hanging on e1. But who cares about the rook when we are seeing your king like this? Who cares? Now he played e4, which was no, well, at least it was a tricky move. Now here, I played knight h4, but this was not a good move. I should have just gone all in with bishop takes g7 immediately. What I was afraid of in the game was knight takes f5, but it turns out that this is nothing. I can just play bishop takes f6, right? And then play rook takes e4. And, we captured a few pawns. Life is good. What more do you need to win a game of chess? But in my mind, I didn't want this kind of advantage. I wanted to play for checkmate. So that's why in the game, I played knight h4 with the idea that now I'm preventing knight f5. And again, I'm renewing the threat of bishop takes g7. But it turns out that I was not really, really correct. Now my opponent captured. I captured back. Now he played bishop c3. This is, I think, the losing blunder of the game. In this position, black is better. Black should actually be greedy. He should go ahead and take the rook on e1. All right, let's take the rook on e1. What will I do? I will take back. When I take back, now take on d5. I will have to capture back. All right, now play knight h7. And you see, the attack is gone. There's no attack anymore. Yes, you might want to play rook e3, but after queen f6, the king will pack on h8. And basically, black is better here because don't forget, black is, an exchange up in the position. So this was the way to go. But of course, we were both getting a bit down on time. And yeah, it's not easy to defend in chess. It's generally not easy to defend. My opponent thought that he found a solution, right? Because he thought that he could bring his bishop to join in the defense of his king, which is, not a completely irrational idea. Also, he thought that I'm not going to sacrifice a whole rook. But of course, that's exactly what I did. Rook e3. So you actually can't take the rook. It's an illusion to think that you can take the rook because rook g3 is coming, and that will be lights out. Okay, so now my opponent realized and he's trying to stop me from playing rook g3. But then you see, the white pieces have achieved, you know, the kind of harmony that they need to destroy the black king position. My opponent is still fighting, but here he has miscalculated something really important. Okay, so now I take, he plays bishop g7. And here he must have thought that after knight takes d5, he was consolidating, and his knight could come to his queen could come to f6 after he threatens to exchange like this. But what he missed was this move, pawn to f6, exclam, if I do say so myself. Because this move really destroys the coordination of the black pieces. And it looks as though there's a problem, there's a technical problem with our knight on h4. But there's a deeper problem because after queen takes h4, I play rook takes e4, and it turns out that this wins the game instantly because you can't take on e4 because I will win your rook in the corner. If you take on e4, I will win your rook in the corner like this. Check, and then I will come back and win this rook on e4. So what can you do? Okay, my opponent resigned here, but basically there's no move. Because if you would go back, right, if you would go back, I can just take this rook, boom, and then rook takes check, and you are a whole rook down, and yeah, basically, this is as resignable as position can get. So this was a really interesting, really exciting game. I was able to defend the honor of the homeland, and I look forward to more interesting games against Master PDM. Until next time, cheers. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you have. Cheers. Bye.